The Corporeal Beast is one of the best money makers in the game for the mid-level player. Hi, my name is Edmuz, and I'm going to be showing you the beautiful little Corporeal Beast setup that I like to use when I'm trying to get some easy AFK cash, or if I was looking for the boss pet log, this is what I would use. The Corporeal Beast has a pretty reliable money-making set for about 10 mil per hour, as well as being really simple to set up, and once you got it going, you can pretty much sit here indefinitely. In today's guide, we're going to be showing you how to get your inventory, your ability bar, as well as how to get the kill set up and going to make sure that you survive as long as possible, and if you even have lower level equipment, how you can do that as well. Big shout out to the new channel members, Iron Griminar and Wolfman Jack. You guys are giving me a cup of coffee. Much love to you guys, and to everybody subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much. We've hit giant milestones over the last couple months. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching this video, I hope you learned something new. And if you liked the video enough, be sure to subscribe and like the video. Lets people find it just like you, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this Corporeal Beast guide. So we're going to get started with the inventory. First and foremost, I have a Blessed Flask here. You don't need to bring a Blessed Flask. You can bring any kind of prayer potions. Regular prayer potions, super prayer potions. You can bring super restores if you'd like. I have a Zeramogo's Nexus in case I have to use Resonance or Reflect in case I'm taking too much damage. We have Penance Powder for our prayer points gained for 2.5% of the damage we receive and lasts for 30 minutes. I recommend only using it for 30-minute intervals because the penance powder is rather expensive. It currently is around 618k, which if you go unlucky for an hour, that could eat into your total cost a lot. So just kind of want to play it by ear. I'm going to show you my archaeology relics in a moment, so that's why I have the cape here. Do not bring this in your preset. You could bring it if you swap your relics out regularly, but that is not required. We have the Kinetic Cyclone Cannon upgrade, which can be bought on the Grand Exchange at approximately 250k gold. This would deal an extra 150% damage with melee attacks and procs with your Scrimshaw of Vampirism, providing a very great way of getting some added damage and healing while fighting the Corporeal Beast. Highly recommended upgrade. Cannot do this method without having one. Recommended. I have regular overload potions to go with our potion reservoirs. This is not a requirement, but it helps a lot for myself. This method doesn't really require anything higher than regular overloads to do. If you're at 120 combats or higher, just going for log. If you're around like 99 combat, you should be fine, but you are going to suffer some accuracy problems. So if the lower combat stats you have for attack and strength for your accuracy, the higher accuracy bonuses you want, which the higher tier overloads can provide you. I have a prayer renewal for this in here for the added prayer sustain. You can use these as kind of like a supplement to your penance powder. And then I also have weapon poisons plus that we're going to pair with our cinder banes that we have when we go into the equipment portion. I have magic note paper for any drops that we may get that are unnoted that we want to note up and get multiples of, like the holy elixirs or the spirit shields. I have a enhanced Excalibur from the Seers Village Elite Diaries 4. Fantastic thing for added sustain. Heals 4% of your maximum life points over 10 times over 40 seconds with a 5-minute cooldown. I have some sailfish soups. You could switch this out for like giant crayfish, sharks, sailfish, anything that's heavy healing, or you could even swap this out for Ceradomin brews if you wish, that you don't really need to. And then for the common drops, I have one of each one of these things because we're going to be using them as well. I have a Holy Elixir, Green Dragon Hide, White Berries, and Cannonballs. I picked these ones because these are the most expensive at the time of recording, and they're usually the most plentiful. Alongside an Onyx Bolt. These are the ones we're going to be looking for, mostly the Onyx Bolt E's and the Cannonballs. And then for the type of Cannonball that I use for the Kinetic Cyclone is a Meteorite Cannonball. These are currently worth 2.1k, while the regular cannonballs are worth 784k. You can just use the regular cannonballs if you'd like, and then you just completely restock yourself as you keep going. I like using the meteorite cannonballs because I do notice the damage difference from it, because your cannon does hit pretty hard here at the Corporeal Beast. Moving into the equipment, we are going to be going in with Masterwork, Trimmed Masterwork Melee. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces on here. If you guys don't know what the Masterwork Melee set does, it is when damage per piece worn, 10% of the incoming damage is delayed and dealt out over the next 6 seconds. You can have a maximized amount of 50% for all 5 pieces. It does not degrade or lose charge when damaged by elite dungeons or by a current Slayer Reaper target if you have it custom fit. That won't really necessarily count towards this unless you go and get Reaper task repeatedly for a Corporeal Beast if you have the War's Blessing 4 and you're able to pick your Corporeal Beast task. For the necklace, I have the M Hedge for the plus 6, deal an additional 6% melee damage, 5% of your strength level. You could swap this out for a Blood Fury Berserker necklace. You can use a regular Blood Fury necklace. You can use a Amulet of Souls. You could use a EOF if you're really struggling for the accuracy. You can use a Reaper's necklace. All those work. I like using the M hedge for the flat damage bonus. I think that one works perfectly fine. We have a Vampirism Scrimshaw. You can buy a buyable one off of the Grand Exchange for a regular version of the Vampirism Scrimshaw, or you can pick yourself up a superior one from the ports minigame, and this is very, very helpful. I make all of my own scrimshaws. I think it's very worth it. It's a nice passive way. Highly recommend it because you never know when you're going to need them. I have a Igneous Cow Zuck. You can just use your regular Zuck cape, and that will get you perfectly fine throughout. We do use Overpower in this build to try and one-shot Corp Beast as fast as possible, so I highly recommend using that. If you don't have it, that is okay. Kiln Cape, Max Cape, Strength Cape, or a Fire Cape will do you fine as well, but highly recommend just go and get your Zuck Cape knocked out. And then for our weapon, we have a Masterwork Spear of Annihilation with lunging forward to increase those bleeds even further. The Masterwork Spear of Annihilation is the best in slot weapon here because spears are the best weapon towards Corp. You can use Necromancy, however, you have so much damage reduction on Corp because of that. The accuracy loss is terrible, so you want to use a spear for this. You could swap this out for a Lonicus Spear, and that would work as well, but the big thing that I like for this build to keep me alive and be very safe during this is the increased duration of bleeds, and that is because of how it interacts with Dismember, Slaughter, and Massacre, and we'll talk about that when we go into the ability bar next. For the perks that we have on our Masterwork gear is not necessarily the most important thing here. I have Crackling Floor, Ultimatums, Biting, and Venom Blood, and then I also have Scav 4, Looting, Genocidal, Undead Slayer. These things aren't really important. If you are going to go for perks, though, I would go for Crackling, Relentless. You could do Equilibrium if you're that crazy. You can go like a low-level manufacture perk as well. And then I like using Scav 4 for the chance of getting more components. We have Cinderbane Gloves for the added poison damage because Corp is susceptible to poison, and with our weapon poison plus in our inventory, we're going to be doing a good chunk of damage there. Lastly, for our ring, we have a Champion's Ring, 3% critical strike chance against bleeding targets, and because we're going to be spamming Slaughter, Decimate, and Massacre, we're going to be having bleeds on Corp at all times. Grants 1% critical strike chance against bleeding targets and 1.5 critical strike damage against bleeding targets for each type of bleed affecting them. So if you have 3 types of bleeds from your Massacre, Dismember, and Slaughter, that is going to be an added 4.5% critical strike damage and the added critical strike chance when you are attacking Corp with the added bleed damage. Don't really get a lot of uses for the Champion's Ring. This is a nice one for it. I would recommend you, if you don't have this ring, you can use a regular Champion's Ring. You can use a Ring of Death. You could use a beautiful little Ring of Retribution if you want to use one of those, and you can also use just the Luck of the Dwarves and camp that for those procs. But that, and then for the aspects we are not currently in the game and what they would look for if you're watching this video in the future, a couple months in the future, you could use the Vampirism aspect for added healing, or I would actually recommend using the Penance version of whatever form that may be to get added prayer sustained and save money on those Penance powders if you can. Now, if you don't have all of this equipment, you could use Vestments of Havoc. Those work as well, but it's a lot more squishy. And then as well, you could use Primal Armor +5, or you could just use regular Elder Rune armor as well. Again, as you downgrade more, the less AFK it is, but the method and ability bar should maintain the same. Upgrade them at your own cost when you're available to, and hopefully you can do that as you progress through this guide. For our ability bar, we have Meteor Strike, Dismember, which goes into Slaughter and Massacre, Overpower, Chaos Roar, Fury or Greater Fury, Hurricane, Assault, Adaptive Strike, Punish, and Rend. You can end your abilities for short and just let it end at Rend. If you do not have Greater Fury, I'd actually recommend swapping out the position of Fury and Greater Fury for Rend so that you get more blood stacks, because you want to try and get more bloodlust stacks for the increased damage on Hurricane and the increased damage on Assault. So if you do not have Greater Fury, you want to use regular Rend until you get Greater Fury for that stronger crit version of that. Now for our familiar, there actually won't be any familiar because Corp will eat all of them. You can, however, use a legendary pet that you can buy off of the marketplace or with bonds off of the Grand Exchange. This is fantastic. They're nice little things to have because they will automatically pick up the loot for you while you're inside of here. The one I have right now is from a long time ago, and you can just use your pets to override it, and there we go. And there's my credentials, 4,500 Corp kills. There are several ways to get to the Corporeal Beast. You can go to the Wilderness Lodestone here, and then you would run northeast toward the dungeon entrance right here, or you can go to War's Retreat and use the War's Teleport and reattune your portal to just head straight there. I personally always use War's Portal because there's no really big reason to go outside of that. Or you could use a Games Necklace and teleport to the Corporeal Beast as well. Once you have arrived at the Corporeal Beast, you want to pop all of your buffs, Penance Powder, Overloads, Prayer Renewals, Weapon Poisons, and turn on Soul Split and Turmoil for your prayers. Head inside, start an instance, press start. In my case, I already started one, so I'm just going to hit rejoin. From here, you'll walk towards the center of the room. Then you will take a couple steps to the west, just south of this gravestone. Drop your kinetic cyclone. Step again right south of that gravestone, and you'll be in the perfect spot to when Corp spawns, you'll always be able to attack her. And then from here, have your auto retaliate on, and then all of your buffs, and you'll just automatically begin to fight Corp. The little black spot will shoot out your hurricane or your adaptive strike with cleave. Should automatically kill it as it bounces around. If it begins to deal a lot of damage to you, you can run around and you'll be able to dodge it that way. But that is going to be it. I average around 22 to 23 second kills with this one and have very rarely do I die. Only time I usually end up dying is when my prayer runs out or if my buffs run out and I'm not paying attention. Even then, it may take another like 3 or 4 minutes for me to die, but that is with the best gear that I have available to me. There is a build for using Berserk and Vestments of Havocs to have a more consistent kill, a faster kill time, but it is a lot more risky, and I found myself dying a lot more than being able to survive. That's why I don't usually recommend that one. It is on the PVME. If you're interested on that, you can find them in the Discord. According to the RS Wiki, this is a total of 9 to 10 mil per hour, depending on the price of items. Cannonballs are the most frequent item that you're going to end up getting, the most sought after ones, with an average of about 3 mil in cannonballs, with Onyx bolts soon after at 2.8 mil, and white berries at 621k. You can also have the chance of getting an Arcane Sigil, Elysian Sigil, Spectral Sigil, or a Holy Elixir, along with a Divine Sigil, and those are all unique items from this boss, along with a Region Bracelet. A lot of times people are looking for the sigils for their collection logs, and or looking for regular sustained cash from Cannonballs and Onyx Bolts. I love this build because it is super AFK, it's super easy if I just feel like hopping on the game, doing something while I'm playing a different game, or if I'm working around the house. It is a wonderful little build, and I hope it does you very, very good. Again, main thing here is making sure that you maintain your prayer throughout the fight, and keep that up. That's usually the only problem I run into while I'm running this guide, so I like to just run Soul Split or Turmoil to make sure that I have one of the other. You can tell right here I have 91% accuracy, and that is because I don't have Turmoil on. You can end up running both to maintain 100% accuracy and get a little bit faster kills per time, but in my grand opinion, it really is just a 1 or 2 second time save. It's not really worth the constant checking on your monitor if you're going to be healing or not. You do get a ton of healing from Dismember, Slaughter, and Massacre, especially if you're using the Master Spear of Annihilation, because of the extended duration on bleeds, as well as if you have the 120 Strength Cape, which gives you an additional 3% healing from bleeds as well. Overall, with all of the sustain that you get from melee, this is a no-brainer build that was strong before the combat changes, and they are now even stronger in the current state of RuneScape right now. Highly recommend giving it a try. Highly recommend you do it for yourself and make some easy cash and get your very first boss log knocked out for the books. Whilst editing and general AFK stuff, I was sitting at Corporeal Beast for about 4.5 hours, and I'm going to show you the loot that I got from it. It is pretty decent. I prioritized picking up the Holy Elixirs, the White Berries, the beautiful looking cannonballs, as well as the Onyx bolt tips, for a grand total of 58.6 million for the in total 4.5 hours. Not that bad. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something new today. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!